What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Edison Club podcast. I'm your host, Mike, joined today by special guest Glenn Auman, and this is a little bit different from any episode that I have recorded in the past. This episode is actually going to be all about food. It's been something I've wanted to do for a while, do some episodes that aren't necessarily completely Yu-Gi-Oh related, so I figure everyone can relate to food, everyone likes food, trying different things, so that's what we're going to talk about today. Glenn and I have been friends for quite some time, and we share a lot of similar interests. Obviously, we both play Yu-Gi-Oh together, but we both like to eat some good food. So we'll start this thing off by me asking you, what's your favorite fast food restaurant?
My favorite fast food restaurant, I'd probably have to go with Taco Bell, just because it's readily available just about anywhere you go, and it has a decent variety of things. So
Yeah, that's actually funny that you said that yours is Taco Bell, because mine is also Taco Bell. And I feel like my favorite is Taco Bell because it seems to be the most consistent across the board. I don't think that I've ever really had a bad experience at Taco Bell. I've never gotten food that wasn't good, food that didn't taste like, like I feel like I've never went to a different state, went to Taco Bell, and it not taste the same as it does in North Carolina, where like a lot of the other ones like McDonald's and Burger King, it really is kind of like a crapshoot whether or not your food is fresh or anything like that. So it's crazy that we both favor Taco Bell the most.
Right, and I agree with that. I've pretty much traveled the U.S. I was a truck driver for 5.5 years, so I've been to pretty much every state in the U.S. And like you said, Taco Bell is the most consistent throughout all the states. So
yeah, it used to be probably one of the cheaper options. It's a little more expensive now. I mean, I guess that's kind of the case anywhere that you go, but I'm always okay with paying a little bit more as long as the food is good and it's just consistent.
definitely, man, I don't mind paying a little extra for consistently good food,
Yeah, exactly. So you had mentioned that you were a truck driver for 5.5 years and you had been around to many of the different states. You want to tell us about some of your favorite places that you ate at during the time that you were a truck driver?
All right. Yes. The first thing that comes to my mind is Texas. Everyone always says everything's bigger in Texas, and food is no different. Uh, I was in El Paso, Texas, and seen a billboard for a 72-ounce steak challenge.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Uh, so I was like, you know what? I enjoy a good food challenge, so I got some free time. Let's stop in and check it out, see what it's all about. So I get there and park the truck, walk in, tell them I want to do the 72-ounce steak challenge. They're like, okay, we have a special stage set up for it. So you go up here, you sit at the stage, and it's $75 if you can't finish the meal. But if you finish the entire meal within the hour that they give you, the whole meal's free. So I was like, okay, cool, let's do it. So I go up to the stage. They asked me how I wanted it cooked. Told them I wanted it medium rare. There's like, okay, cool. They bring out the steak. Not only is it a 72-ounce steak, you have to finish the steak, the baked potato, a salad, a roll, and a shrimp cocktail within an hour.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, and they give you one bite to taste and make sure it's cooked properly. So I was like, okay, cool. So I take my first bite, and I was like, all right, we're good to go. So they announced to the entire restaurant that I'm there to try the 72-ounce steak challenge. I have an hour to do it, and they start the timer. So I start hitting the steak hard, and I was just like, let's get it. So I'm about 15, 20 minutes in. I have about 2.5 pounds of the steak down. So I start attacking the sides. I get the salad gone, the roll gone, the baked potato, and the shrimp cocktail. All my sides are gone. I got about half the steak left to go, and I got a decent amount of time to do it. I get a little bit further into the challenge, and I hit the wall. And it's just like, oh gosh. So I keep trying to press through, and it keeps getting harder and harder to take another bite. Needless to say, I wound up paying the $75 for the meal because I was down to my last half a pound of steak and couldn't finish it within the time frame.
Yeah. Wow. Did they give you any kind of insight as to like how far most people make it? Like, would you say that you made it further than the average person does?
They said the average person will make it through about half of the steak and maybe the salad and baked potato.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit better than most people out there. But another little funny story about that, 2 days after I went in and tried it and failed, they had a competitive eater, a female that weighed maybe 110, 115 pounds at max, go in there and eat 2 steaks, 2 baked potatoes, 2 salads, 2 rolls, 2 shrimp cocktails in under 35 minutes.
She ate it twice?
She did it twice and ate both of them. Not just the one, but both challenges in under 35 minutes.
Oh my God. Where does it go? Where does it go? Because I feel like when I was in high school, and for people that don't know, I have a musical theater background. I did a lot of shows and plays when I was in high school. And after a show, I would go and get like a whole Little Caesars pizza and I would eat the entire thing. And I feel like now if I did that, I would die. I would literally die. So I have no idea how she was able to do that twice.
I know. I mean, I couldn't even do it once, and I can put some food down. Don't get it wrong. I can put some food down. I couldn't even finish one, but she was able to finish 2.
That is insane.
I know. I don't understand how she did it.
So is this like a thing where, like, in addition to getting the meal for free, they like put your name on a plaque on the wall or something?
I don't think they put your name on a plaque on a wall, but if you finish it within the hour time limit, they do give you the meal for free, like I said. Plus, they give you a T-shirt, pretty much stating that you were able to do the challenge within the hour, and they video the whole thing. So that way, it's pretty much up on their website, and people can go and watch you do it and stuff like that.
That's cool. That's really cool. There's a place in Gastonia. I think it's Webb's Custom Kitchen. We went there a few times on the way back from like Greenville, South Carolina regionals, and they have like a brisket challenge. I can't remember exactly how much it weighs. It was like a huge brisket, and if you finish it, they put your name on the plaque on the wall, which is pretty cool. So,
right.
Yeah. Competitive eating, I don't think that would be for me. Especially as I've gotten older, I've noticed that even when I feel like I could eat a lot of food, I end up getting like halfway through and I'm just not hungry enough to finish the rest.
Most definitely, man. I've started noticing that myself. The older I get, the less I'm able to actually eat.
Yeah.
But there is definitely an art form to competitive eating. My hat's off to the people that do it.
Yeah, hats off to that girl that managed to do that 2 times. That's crazy. So that was one of the places that you had stopped at during your 5.5 years as a trucker. Is there anywhere else that's notable that you would stop through?
There was up in Chicago. I stopped off at I think it was a Love's truck stop, and there was a little pizza joint that offered deep dish pizza, and I'm a huge pizza fanatic.
Same.
And I was like, you know what? I've never had authentic Chicago deep dish pizza. So let me go ahead and order some. And they offered delivery. They were only a couple miles from the truck stop. So I was like, you know what? Let me order it. So I called them up and I ordered large meat lovers pizza with a 2 liter Coke. And when they gave me the price tag for it, I was like, hold on, that seems a little steep for a pizza and Coke. And there's like, that's our normal going rate. And I was like, okay. The price was $41.50.
Wow.
And I was like, holy moly. I was like, okay, well, I want to try it, so bring it on. So about a half hour, 45 minutes later, I see the pizza guy rolling up. So I go ahead and get out of my truck, flag him down, paid him. When he hands me the pizza, no lie, this pizza weighed every bit of 8 pounds.
Wow.
And I was like, now I see why it was $41.
Yeah.
So,
That's a big pizza. You said it was deep dish as well?
yes.
Wow.
So I get it back in the truck, open it up, and I was just in awe of the sheer size and just just the pizza in general. It was just like, yes, this is heaven for me.
Yeah. So it was worth the price tag then.
It was definitely worth the price tag. It fed me for 2.5 days.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, well that drops the price down to like $20.50 per meal then, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll tell a quick story about this time. We went to a regional. This is back when South Carolina had regionals in Spartanburg. So everyone knows, when you go to a Yu-Gi-Oh event, you normally do without food for the majority of the day. And back then, I used to get really terrible headaches because I thought that it was just something about being out that long. But actually, it was just because I was completely dehydrated. So we go and we play in this regional. We play all day this is back when regionals were really big. So it's probably 10 o'clock till at least 8:30, 9, 10 o'clock at night. When we leave, all of the restaurants nearby are closed. There's nothing. There is a IHOP up the road, but it had like a 2-hour wait because that's where everyone from the event went. So we get on the road, start heading back toward North Carolina. About an hour and a half into the drive, we find a 24-hour McDonald's, which I didn't even know was a thing. I'm not sure if it's a thing anymore. It was definitely a thing in the days of like 2016. We find this 24-hour McDonald's. We go in. It's midnight, or maybe even past midnight. I get 3 McChickens and a large fry. And when I tell you that this was the greatest McDonald's meal that I have ever had in my life, I don't know if it was because I was just so dehydrated and malnourished from not eating for like well over 12 hours, or if it was actually just that good. That is one of my best food-related stories from a trip that I ever went on, just because of how good the food was.
Oh, dude, I totally get it. I've been there before, man. Like you said, playing 10, 12-hour days at an event. You're hungry, dehydrated. You sit down to a meal, and like you said, I don't care if it's McDonald's or a 5-star restaurant. It's the best food you'll ever eat because you're just that hungry.
Yeah. Yeah, at that point, anything just tastes really good. So we'd actually recently went on a trip to YCS Indianapolis a couple of months ago, Glenn and I and several of our friends. And while we were there, I actually stumbled upon a Steak and Shake, which I have not eaten at a Steak and Shake since like 2018. All the ones in my area are closed. And it really made me realize how much I miss Steak and Shake. Big fan of their banana milkshake that they have there. Burgers are really good. And where else did we go out to eat on that trip? We ate in the hotel burger bar, which was also really, really good.
Yeah, they actually had some amazing French toast for
Oh
breakfast.
yeah, I forgot about the French toast.
Yes, the first morning we actually ate their breakfast. You got their French toast, and I think I got their some kind of chicken meal, and I was just in shock of how good your French toast looked. So I had to go back the next morning just to get the French toast.
Yeah, I
And
think you did. You get like chicken and waffles? Was it something like that?
I believe it was.
Yeah, it was definitely something like that. And then everyone at the table was eyeballing my French toast because this thing was like, I don't know, like 8 inches high, and it had like a nice like toasted finish, fruit, syrup, powdered sugar. Like it had the whole 9 yards. It was the best French toast I've ever had. And normally when you go to like eat hotel food, you don't expect it to be that good, but it was good. It was also like $20, so it was worth it though.
Oh, definitely, man. I mean, it was by far the best French toast I've ever had, and that's saying a lot because I eat a ton of French toast.
Yeah, I'm a big sweets for breakfast kind of guy. A lot of people, they like their savory stuff, and I like stuff like bacon and sausage as well. But I'm always going for like the waffles, the pancakes, the French toast, any kind of stuff like that.
Right. I'm more of a savory kind of guy for breakfast, but occasionally I do get a wild hair and want something sweet for breakfast.
Yeah,
And whenever I seen you eating that French toast, I was just like, man, I gotta have it.
yeah, it was worth it too. So, what? This is a good question here. What was your favorite restaurant when you were a kid?
My favorite restaurant when I was a kid, I would probably have to say Shoney's.
Shoney's buffet, right, with the bear.
Yes.
Nice.
Uh,
Okay. I
yeah.
I have eaten at Shoney's a couple times myself throughout my life.
Oh yeah. That's the biggest. I'd probably say the biggest reason that Shoney's was my favorite was as a kid was because my grandmother always took all her grandkids once a month on a Saturday morning to Shoney's, and we always got to spend time with our grandmother, my cousins, and everything. So it was a combination of the restaurant plus family time that with family that I don't get to see on a regular basis.
Yeah, a lot of good memories surrounding it. We didn't have Shoney's near where I lived. There, I'm not sure if it's still there. There was a Shoney's in Withville, Virginia, that when I would go antique shopping up there, I would always eat at the Shoney's. But Shoney's was always really good whenever I would go up there. I definitely wish that there were still more of them.
Yeah, a while I'd say about 6, 7 months ago, I seen a sign in Greensboro, North Carolina, for a Shoney's. So I was like, you know
Ooh,
what? I ain't been to a Shoney's in a while. Let me stop by and grab me a meal, cause just for nostalgic purposes.
yeah.
So I pull up, and unfortunately, they had went out of business a few months prior.
Oh no.
And I was
Yeah, that
like, man,
sucks. Yeah, the only real buffet chain that I know is like really left is Golden Corral.
right.
And I know people have mixed feelings about Golden Corral. I actually love Golden Corral. I really enjoy the way that they cook all of their vegetables, their potatoes, their macaroni and cheese, their green beans. They put bacon in their green beans. They put bacon in their collard greens, which I really like. So it's hard to find places like that where you can just kind of go in and just eat as much as you want. I'm a big fan of Golden Corral. That was probably my favorite restaurant when I was a kid. So we both have buffets. We're very similar. Our palates, I guess, are very similar.
Yeah, it's starting to sound that way.
Yeah. So, okay, this is a good one here. And this one will spark a bit of debate that I always enjoy talking with people about. What is your favorite pizza chain?
Oh, Lord of mercy. My favorite pizza chain. Uh, I initially would have said Papa John's if you would have asked me like a year or two ago,
Right.
but honestly, Papa John's have just went downhill, and it's just wildly inconsistent. And so now I would probably have to say my favorite pizza chain is Domino's.
Okay.
Uh, they're the most consistent out of all the pizza chains, and they have decent pizza. So I would probably have to go with Domino's at this point.
Okay. Yeah. Domino's is probably the pizza I eat the most. My wife really likes Domino's, and there's one not too far from our house. So a lot of times on Monday when we get home, we'll order delivery from Domino's, and it's good. I'm a really big fan of their stuffed cheesy bread. I kind of always like the sides that come with pizza more than the pizza. Big fan of the cheese sticks from Pizza Hut as well. But yeah, I can definitely vibe with Domino's. My favorite pizza though is one that a lot of people usually look at me like I'm crazy. And maybe it's more nostalgia than anything, but my favorite pizza is actually Little Caesars pizza.
Oh, definitely, man. I can see that. Little Caesars is definitely decent pizza, and it's the cheaper pizza chain out there.
Yeah.
But it's definitely decent pizza, man. I enjoy a good Little Caesars from time to time.
Me too, man. Like, if I had it my way, that would be the only pizza that I would eat. And like I said, maybe it's like a nostalgia thing because that was always the pizza that we would get when I was a kid. My parents would get a Little Caesars hot and ready pizza, and my mom would make mashed potatoes to go with it. I don't really know why, but we would have pizza and mashed potatoes, and that's like forever ingrained into like my palate. Maybe I just associate that with like really good times as a kid. But when I was a kid, Little Caesars was like the gold standard of pizza. It was hot, it was ready, quite literally, just like their slogan, and it was cheap. Like it used to be actually like $5.25 for a whole pizza from there.
Right. It yeah, it's definitely the cheaper of the pizza chains when it comes to pretty much bang for your buck,
Yeah,
and it's decent pizza. So
yeah.
now here's the controversial topic for you since we're on the pizza topic. What's your stance on putting pineapple on pizza?
Oh boy. Okay. All right. This one could get me canceled. Okay. So I I used to be entirely just completely against it. Like I always said the same people that put pineapples on pizza are the same people that were eating Tide Pods back in like 2019, 2020. But I've since come around to a different opinion on that. I don't think that it's for me. I'm not like a really big sweet and salty person. I love pizza and I also love pineapple and I will eat it on the pizza. I wouldn't order it for myself though. But I'm kind of in the middle about it, you know? Like if I'm at a place and we're all hanging out and we want pizza and the majority want pineapple on it, then I'm good with that. You know, I'm fine. The thing I'm actually the weirdest about is I actually don't like the Canadian bacon that they put on there, like the ham. That's actually, I dislike that even more. But what's your stance on the pineapple on pizza?
Me personally, I love pineapple on pizza.
Okay. All right.
I Pizza just doesn't taste the same to me if you do not have pineapple on it.
Yeah.
Uh, I will eat pizza without pineapple. Like you said, if the majority of my friend group that I'm with doesn't want it, but if you leave the decision up to me, I'm putting the pineapple on the pizza all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just, it's just, I don't know. It's just something about the salty and sweet that just goes good together for me.
It also adds like another layer of like, it makes it where it's like not dry because you get the juice from the pineapple on there as well.
Definitely, man.
So a couple years ago, I probably would have been like, all right, that's the end of the podcast. Glenn likes pineapple on pizza. But now I'm just like, okay, I can respect it. You know, I've grown to be able to respect it.
Yeah, it's definitely. I'd probably say it's an acquired taste for most,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I catch a lot of crap when I tell all my friends that I like pineapple on pizza because the majority of my friend group doesn't like pineapple on pizza. They just think that's the weirdest thing out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I would definitely, like I said, rather have pineapple on there than like, because I'm not a big fan of the Canadian bacon or like anchovies or something. Like a lot of people like anchovies on pizza, which I always thought was just a thing in like SpongeBob, but apparently it's not. People actually like that. I'm not really a fan personally.
Right. I can honestly say I've never tried anchovies on pizza. I'm not opposed to trying it. I've just never ventured out and tried it myself, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we're still kind of in like the Americanized like category of food here. So let's talk about everyone's favorite here in the South, barbecue. Where do you think the best barbecue is from?
My favorite barbecue place would probably have to be Black Powder Smokehouse. Uh, in my opinion, they got the best brisket ever.
Yeah.
I mean, great flavor. They always cook it perfectly. It melts in your mouth, and you can order it by like by the half pound, so you can get half pound, pound and a half, what have you, however hungry you are.
Right.
And their sides is phenomenal. They got Gouda mac and cheese, which is just
Ooh.
great. Uh, they their green beans. They put bacon in their green beans.
Yeah, we'd love to see that. I mentioned that earlier.
Right. And it's just they got really good burnt ends as well, but they're that's kind of a I don't want to say seasonal, but it's like maybe once a week, once every other week that they have the burnt ends,
Yeah.
and when they run out, they run out. They don't have any more.
Oh, I see. Okay. Where is Black Powder Smokehouse?
They got one in Jamestown, North Carolina, and one in Asheboro, North Carolina.
Really? Okay, so it's not that far away. I may have to try that.
Yeah, I've never went to the one in Asheboro. The one in Jamestown is the one I always go to, and they they're by far the best barbecue place I've ever been to.
Okay. I'll have to check them out. Asheboro, my wife and I have talked about going to the zoo at some point. So maybe after we go to the zoo, we'll have to check it out and we'll do a follow-up episode on that.
All right.
Barbecue in my area is actually kind of hard to come by. So we had one barbecue place in town, which was Stratford Barbecue. This place had been here since like the 1970s, and they finally closed it. And their barbecue was very mid. It was very, very dry. They didn't really put much sauce on it. It didn't have a lot of flavor. And then the next town over, which is Pilot Mountain, they have a little barbecue place, and it's almost exactly the same. It's just kind of like flavorless barbecue, and they give you like a container of sauce, but like you kind of have to drown it in sauce for it to actually like taste good. But all the way in Mount Airy for me, or I guess even the same distance into Winston-Salem, is Little Richard's Barbecue. And that's my favorite barbecue, probably just by default, because I guess it's the only good barbecue I've really ever had from somewhere.
Right. And back to the topic of having to drown your barbecue in sauce for it to taste decent. At that point, you might as well just pick up a bottle of sauce and just drink it.
Yeah, and that's about how much you have to put on it at those places for it to actually like be edible. And at that point, it's like not even enjoyable.
Right. I totally agree.
Yeah. Yeah, like it was the same thing. We went to this barbecue place when we went to YCS Raleigh earlier this year, and everyone wanted to go eat barbecue. And I was just like, I didn't say anything because that's what the majority wanted. But I'm like, man, like I can't even find good barbecue out in the country where I'm at. Like there's not going to be any city barbecue that's going to be good. Like I feel like that doesn't exist. So we get to this little barbecue place, and you walk in, and it already just looks way too nice to be a barbecue place. Like for barbecue, it's like the slimier the better. And it was just way too clean, way too modern. The barbecue, it was very expensive. I think it was $30 just for me. It was very mid. they had cornbread that it was like a sponge. Like I think you could have took this sponge and like washed your dishes with it. It was so spongy. And I was like, man, like the quest to find good barbecue is still on because I still have not found it.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to find good barbecue. You can find a lot of barbecue places out there, just like you said, just mid. Just
Yeah.
if it'll do in a pinch if you're really craving barbecue and you just want barbecue. Sure, okay, there it is. But honestly, in my opinion, if you want good barbecue around the North Carolina area, you need to give Black Powder Smokehouse a try.
I'm definitely going to do that. I'm actually marking that right now on my list of restaurants to try, so I won't forget about that. We actually tried, my wife bought me this barbecue from the grocery store. It was Jack Daniel's sweet barbecue. And we tried it, and it was a little too sweet for me. I like more of like a vinegar kind of barbecue. But I have to say, for it to be frozen barbecue that you just make in the oven, it was so much better than the actual places around me that advertise themselves as barbecue restaurants. It was crazy. Like in my town where I live, if I wanted barbecue, I would just go to the grocery store and buy that. So I definitely have to try out the Black Powder Smokehouse.
Yeah, I've actually tried the Jack Daniel's barbecue from the store, and you're right, it's not bad for what it is.
Yeah, it's really not. Like, I didn't have high expectations. And like I said, for me, maybe if you like diluted it down with some vinegar and helped get away some of the sweetness because it was kind of overbearingly sweet. I mean, it's pretty good to be from the grocery store.
Right.
So we've talked about all of that. I guess we can discuss, this one's kind of hard to find nowadays. What's your favorite brand of hot dog? Because I've actually discovered this brand called Nathan's Hot Dogs. They come in a green package. And we were always a ballpark family when I grew up. But Nathan's Hot Dogs, man, these things are so good. I think I could sit down and eat the whole pack of them myself.
Yeah, growing up as a kid, my family was a ballpark hot dog family as well. So that's just what I grew up on. And as I got older and was able to go out and buy my own stuff, I started venturing out. And I'd probably have to agree with you. Nathan's hot dogs are probably the best hot dogs out there. Uh, I don't get me wrong. I still like ballpark. Ballpark's always gonna have a special place in my heart, just because that's what I grew up on. But
Yeah.
Nathan's is probably the better hot dog.
Yeah, I think so as well. It's just something about them. They just taste really fresh. Like it tastes like a restaurant style hot dog, where some of the others really do just kind of, it just tastes like a grocery store hot dog.
Yep.
How do you take your hot dog? Because I'm like a 5-year-old. I just take mine with just chili.
My favorite way for a hot dog is mayonnaise, mustard, ketchup, chili, slaw, and a little bit of Texas Pete.
Okay, so that's like, that thing is really packed down then.
Yes, sir. It is.
Yeah.
I've tried it with relish. Relish is okay. Not my favorite. It's a little too, I don't like the sweet relish on a hot dog. Just I'll eat it if it's there, but I'm not going to seek it out.
Yeah, you're not going to order it for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't stand sauerkraut on a hot dog. It's just I've tried it one time, took one bite of it, threw the rest of the hot dog away, and I was like, I'm not doing it.
Do you just not like sauerkraut, or is it just specifically on a hot dog you don't like it?
The only way I've ever tried sauerkraut is on a hot dog, so I would assume that I don't like sauerkraut in general.
Yeah.
But I haven't just tried it by itself, so...
Yeah, that one, that's definitely an acquired taste. The first time I ever tried sauerkraut was sauerkraut and kielbasa sausage. And it was good. I think that the flavor of the sausage kind of like blends well with the flavor of the sauerkraut. But I think the best way to eat sauerkraut is on a Reuben sandwich. And if you've never had one of those, I highly recommend trying one.
I've never had a Reuben, so I'm definitely gonna have to try that out and give it a shot and see if see if it was just me not liking the sauerkraut on a hot dog or if I don't like sauerkraut in general.
Yeah, I think the best Reuben is from Jason's Deli. I don't really go there a lot, but if I'm really just wanting a Reuben, I will. So if you're ever in the area and you see a Jason's Deli, stop in and try a Reuben. I'm sure you'll like it.
I'm definitely gonna have to stop in and try it out just to see if I'm ever around at Jason's Deli.
Yeah. So we talked about the three main, like, just like Americanized foods: pizza, hot dogs, barbecue. Have you ever tried any kind of like exotic food from anywhere?
I have. I've let's see. The list of the craziest things I've ever tried is duck,
Ooh,
ostrich,
okay.
buffalo, lamb, and alligator. Those are the top five exotic meats that I've ever tried. And out of those five, I would probably have to say my favorite is duck.
Really? I've never tried duck.
Duck is really good. It's a little on the greasy side, but it has an amazing flavor. I've never had anything like it. It's really good. Really good texture. Really doesn't need much seasoning because of the flavor of the duck itself.
Yeah.
But overall, I probably have to say duck is my favorite exotic food that I've ever tried.
Okay. I've never really tried anything like that. I've tried lamb before, and I think that lamb is good. That's about the most exotic I've really ever tried.
Yeah, lamb's decent. I've tried the few times I've tried lamb, it was like lamb chops and stuff like that, and it was decent. It's not my favorite by no means, but it was decent. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Did you say that you had tried ostrich?
I have. It was an ostrich burger, so it was ground ostrich made into a burger patty.
Ooh, okay. What did that taste like? Is it comparable to anything?
Uh, Not really. It was really dry. I
Really?
don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it was the way that the restaurant made it or if ostrich in general is really dry since they're like a lean bird.
Yeah, I
Not
could
much
see
fat.
that kind of being similar to like turkey. Turkey is always really dry.
Yeah. So I don't know if ostrich in general is just dry or if it was the restaurant that made it and they overcooked it, which made it dry.
Yeah, that could be it.
Uh, but it was okay. It was probably at the of my uh, bottom of the exotic meats that I've tried.
Yeah.
Uh, just because it was so dry.
So
Uh,
you had mentioned alligator as well. How was the alligator? Because that's something I've actually really wanted to try. The few restaurants I've ever been to that did serve it, they were always out of it whenever I wanted to order it.
Alligator is really good. It's probably a close second to duck for me. I've tried alligator tail, alligator bites, and it's the alligator tail is really good. But you got to go to a place that knows how to cook it because
Yeah.
if they don't cook it right, it's going to be very chewy.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you're trying to eat a stick of bubble gum.
Oh, I see. So like kind of like when you just have like a lot of fat on your steak, kind of like that.
Right.
I see. Okay. All right.
But
Dearly noted.
overall, if it's cooked right, it's really good.
I'll have to get around to trying that. Okay. So after we've talked about all this, what would you say your favorite style of food is? Would it be like American, Italian, Mexican, Asian? What would you say for you if your absolute go to?
My favorite cuisine of food is by far Italian.
Ooh, okay. All right. Why do
I,
you like
I
Italian so much?
you can just do so much with Italian. I mean, you got all kinds of different pastas, different sauces. uh, chicken parmesans, just all. There's so many different combinations you can do and come up with, and it's just oh my gosh,
Your mouth's
Italian
watering
food,
just thinking about it.
yes. And people that go out and say Olive Garden is authentic Italian food, I think have fell and bumped their head because that is nowhere near authentic, good Italian food.
Yeah.
It'll do in a pinch. It's okay. I'm not knocking it by no means, but when it comes to authentic Italian food, it's far from it.
I'm a big fan of Italian food. I'm pretty basic, I do like pasta, cheese, and bread. I can't say I really venture out very far beyond that. But even if that's like the standard for me, it's still really good. Like all the Italian places that I've been to, it's always been really good.
Yeah. My favorite Italian dish was I'd probably have to go with a nice 7-layer lasagna.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds good.
And I can't remember the name of the restaurant that I tried it at. I think I was down in no, I was actually out in Wisconsin. I can't remember the name of the little restaurant. It was like a little hole in the wall, and they had a lasagna that they made with some kind of wine reduction sauce, if that makes
Mm,
sense. And
yeah.
it was really good.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's always the little like slimy hole in the wall places that just have the best food.
Most definitely, man. That's where you're going to find most of your good food at, no matter what kind of food you're looking for, whether it be barbecue, Italian, Mexican, whatever.
Yeah.
It's always the little hole in the wall mom and pop shops that have the best food.
Yeah. I think so. I'll say this, and then I'll go over my favorite like cuisine. I think my favorite Italian dish is stuffed chicken marsala, which I would always get at Carrabba's. And oh my gosh, man, this is like a chicken meal, pasta with like a wine sauce, and I love mushrooms. I'm a really big mushroom enthusiast. Oh my gosh, dude, my mouth is watering thinking about that, and I haven't had it in so long.
That does sound really good.
I'm a really big fan of like sauces like that, especially when you throw mushrooms into the equation.
Right.
But my favorite cuisine, I love Mexican food. I could eat it literally every single day. I love tacos and burritos, spicy food, rice, beans. Like I love all of it. Like there's a little place where I used to live, and once again, it's a little hole in the wall place, Mexican restaurant that's like real authentic Mexican food. It's in the back of a meat market in Dobson, North Carolina. And my cousin introduced me to this place, and that place is phenomenal because it's 100% authentic, and there's nothing that I've eaten from anywhere else that was quite like that little place.
Yeah, Mexican food is definitely a close second for me when it comes to my favorite cuisine. And a funny story about me trying some Mexican food when I was out on the road driving truck. I was down in Laredo, Texas, and I parked my truck at one of our terminals, and one of my buddies that was there happened to be at the same terminal as me. Told me about this little Mexican joint, and it was authentic Mexican food. So since we're right there next to the Mexican border, so I was like, okay, let's go try it out. We get there, and no lie, the wait staff, the hostess, nobody spoke a lick of English.
Yeah.
They bring out the menus in Spanish, but luckily they had pictures next to the uh, listed food. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna have to find a picture that looks good, point to it, and say, "Bring me this."
Yeah.
And so I found something that looked really good, pointed to it, said, "I want this." They bring it out, and by far it was the best Mexican food I ever had.
So it was worth it.
It was definitely worth it. And it was it wasn't the Americanized version of Mexican food. It was authentic, real Mexican food.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool. So it's kind of probably similar to the little place I was talking about in Dobson, because like very few people that work there speak English as well. It's kind of the same thing, like just kind of pictures on the menu.
Yep.
But really, really good nonetheless. So we're approaching the 45-minute mark here, and we'll run out the rest of our time by saying, what are some foods that you do not like under any circumstances? You wouldn't eat it. You would just leave it on the counter. Do you have something like that?
Oh Lord, really put me on the spot with that one.
I threw you a curveball there.
Yeah, I don't think I've run across anything that I just straight up refuse to eat. I've always been a really adventurous eater. I'm a firm believer in I'll try anything once when it comes to food just to
Yeah.
see if I like it. And up to this point, I don't really think I've run across anything that I'll just straight up refuse to eat. I'm not saying there's anything out there that I would never refuse to eat, but I just haven't run across it yet.
Okay. All right. So like every now and again I see these challenges on Facebook where it's like you get 1 point for every food that you wouldn't eat, and you just see how like picky of an eater you are. Mine's always really low because I feel like I do like most things. But the biggest thing that I cannot bring myself to eat is actually eggs. Not allergic to them. I don't know what it is about actually I know exactly what it is. So when I was a kid and I spent most of the summer with my grandma when my parents were working. My grandma would make scrambled eggs, but she would water them down instead of putting milk in them. So watery scrambled eggs. And I'm like getting nauseous thinking about it. That completely turned me off from eating eggs at all. I can almost vomit if I smell them at times. But then every now and again, I'll have a day like earlier this week. I randomly just wanted some deviled eggs. So I came home from work and made me and my wife deviled eggs. But then after that, it was like right back to nope, don't want it anymore.
Right. I mean, I can understand where you're coming from. If I grew up and ate watered down scrambled eggs, I
Oh,
think
man, it
I'd be
was
in the
so
same boat.
disgusting. It was so nasty. I can't even. I'm going to throw up on my microphone.
Yeah. And actually, you know what? Now that I've sat here and thought about it, there is one thing that I will not eat. I've tried it every way possible,
Ooh, okay.
and it's coconut.
Really?
Yes, I cannot stand coconut. I've tried it in cakes, pies, with chocolate, caramel. I've tried
Wow.
coconut milk.
Out of
It just,
everything I thought you could have said, that was not even within the realm of possibility.
yeah, it's one of those weird things. I don't know why I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just the flavor, the texture, what. It's just something that's just like, no, it just turns me off. I don't know why.
I love coconut. I love Mounds bars, which is also kind of like people make fun of me and say I'm an old person for eating Mounds bars. I love like the chocolate and the coconut. I also grew up on eating the red zinger cakes that are like, I don't remember what the red part is, but it has coconut on it as well. So maybe that's why I've always grown up loving coconut.
Yeah, it's just coconut's one of them things, man, where I don't know why. I I'll occasionally pick up some like a Mounds bar or something like that just to see if my palate has changed and I can tolerate it. But every time I pick it up, I always
Still
regret
can't
it.
do it.
And it's just like I'll take one bite of it, force that one bite down, and it's just like, yep, still don't like it.
That's it. Yeah. I think another thing for me would be cottage cheese. My mom used to eat cottage cheese and peaches growing up, and it just always. I've never even tried it. Full disclaimer: never even had cottage cheese in my mouth. It was just the visual. I could not get past like the lumpiness and the runniness of it.
Yeah, cottage cheese is definitely a visually off-putting food, but it It's not bad. I'll occasionally eat it. I do enjoy cottage cheese and peaches from time to time, but it is definitely a visually off-putting food for sure.
Yeah, it looks like something that you left in the back of the fridge for too long.
It does. It really does.
I do love cream cheese though. Like raspberry, let's see. No, it's strawberry cream cheese on a bagel. Man, that is, let me tell you, about delicious.
Yeah, that is pretty decent. I have tried strawberry cream cheese on a bagel. It's decent. Uh, I personally like just plain. If I'm going cream cheese and bagel, I personally like just plain cream cheese on a nice toasted bagel with a little bit of butter. Really good.
Yummy, yummy. What would you say your favorite drink is? And this can go as far as from like water all the way to like beer, and all things in between. Soda, juice. What do you think your favorite thing to drink is?
Let's see. I drink a lot of water just because of the work I do. I'm in a hot warehouse all day,
Same.
so I drink a ton of water. But my favorite drink, I would probably have to go with a nice cold Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, I feel like that's most people's answer. That's the common one for me. I love Dr. Pepper. Mine's actually Dr. Pepper Zero because I don't really drink regular soda anymore. I got off of it a while back, but every now and again I will drink a regular Dr. Pepper. I think that is like the gold standard of sodas. I think it's the best. One that's a little more uncommon to hear about, and I actually just had one before we started this podcast, is peach knee high. Have you ever had one of those?
I have not.
Okay. It's so most of the time you go to these places and they'll have knee high, but it's always in a glass bottle, and it's either orange or grape. Both of those are good, but every now and again you'll go into like one of these little like roadside country stores, which I have one right up the street from me, and they'll have peach, and the peach is the best one if you can find it somewhere. And now that I know that they have them, I'll probably be going back.
I'm definitely gonna have to try that out. It sounds really good. So I'm definitely gonna have to seek it out and try it.
Yeah. Do you like peach rings, the candy?
I do.
Okay. So how I always tell people this tastes is like if you melted down peach rings and put them in a soda, that's how this tastes.
Oh, that sounds really nice. Yes, I'm definitely gonna have to seek it out and try it.
You're gonna go out on a scavenger hunt today for some peach knee high.
Definitely.
Okay, well, that was a lot of fun. Now I'm hungry, so I guess I'm gonna go out on a scavenger hunt and try to find myself some food after all the good food that we've discussed today. Glenn, is there anything that you'd like to say before we get out of here?
The only thing I really need to say is someone needs to find a way to make coconut taste good.
Okay. If I find someone that does, you'll be the first person I tell.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, man. Well, thank you for joining me on today's episode. I really enjoyed it. And once I try out Black Powder Smokehouse, we'll definitely have to make a follow-up episode of this.
Sounds like a plan, man. And I appreciate you having me on, and I really enjoyed it.
Of course. Love to have you on again. For anyone listening, if you didn't already know, I do accept fan mail to my email, which is the EdisonClubFanmail@gmail.com. You can email me, ask questions, make statements, whatever you'd like to say. If there's any kind of episodes that you'd like to see. And also, too, just give me some feedback if you enjoy non-Yu-Gi-Oh! Related episodes. This was definitely something different, and I really had a good time doing it. So once again, thank you, Glenn, for joining me today. And this is Mike from the Edison Club signing out until the next one.